Welcome back to part 2. And here, like on that one, it all came down, when we were doing the wine one, we got the proportion 0.0001. It was very small. And so from that, the null hypothesis, I'm not going to write it all out, but we should have said, the distribution of wine types sold are no different when music types change. The distribution, what am I talking about by distribution? So I will write part of that out. The distribution, and that's kind of a vague word, but I want to clarify, the distribution of wine types sold are no different by music played. That's kind of my quickest rendition of that. And of course, the alternative, the distributions are different. So, what are you talking about distribution? And so, let's say we have music, and what was the music? None. Was there none for music? Yeah. None, and then Italian, and then French. So if we're saying the distribution was no different, we go in and buy one day when no music is playing, we go in and buy French wine, Italian wine, and others. And guess what? They're the same. So if let's not put them like that because that's kind of unusual. Let's say they're like that. So then we go in when Italian music is played, and look what happens. We get the same distribution. And then we go in when French music is played, and we get the same distribution. So that's what they mean by distribution, is like a picture, a graph, or in this case a histogram, of what the data portrayed. So we're saying this distribution doesn't change when the music changes. That's the kind of result we're supposed to conclude with this test. And I believe, Bailey, I've written that, and then you said, can I say that there's no association between music and distribution of wine type and music? So do you remember saying that? And I said, yes, that's the same thing. Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, I was just asking if that's what different means, because it was all that you had written was the distributions aren't different,
right?
And I didn't know what that meant.
Right, and you said, does that mean there's no association?
Yeah, I wasn't.
For some reason, the book goes on for like 3 examples of several pages, and saying on this chi-squared test for homogeneity, this is the conclusion that has to be made. No difference in distributions. You can't say there is no association between the variables. So I didn't realize that was such a big deal. So if you went back and if you would check your wine problem, do you have that? What was your conclusion? Would you go back and check and see that the conclusion was there was no difference in the distribution? Or this one had a difference though, didn't it? What was the p-value? It was 0.001. So on this one on this one, 0.001 is very small. The chances of that happening are very slim. So we are going to reject the null hypothesis, and we're going to say that the distribution of wine types are different according to music played. That's what this tells us to do. What did we conclude? Do you have a conclusion there? No, Allie, you don't have that paper.
I have that paper. It's chapter 11.
Oh, that's right. It's chapter 11.
You're
fine with chapter 11.
I was confused because you phrase it as there's no difference between the distributions of wine types sold.
That's the conclusion? That's the conclusion? That shouldn't be the conclusion because was your P very low?
No, I was saying that's what you said that HO would mean.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
but it's
so
not
that's
the
right.
same. But it's not the same. It's not the same thing.
The distribution of wine types are no different by music played. So what
it's
you
not
said?
saying it's not saying that they're no different from the distributions of the music played.
Right. So this distribution with no music is the same as this distribution with Italian as this distribution with French. So I'm not understanding what you're saying.
I was confused because I thought you were like talking about different distributions of music versus different
okay.
distributions of line types and
Okay.
saying that they're no different from each other.
Okay, all right, do you see what I'm trying to say with
Like
this
the-
picture cleared up?
Just like the distributions of the line types.
With and without the
Alright.
one type, with and without the music, it's the same.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you have to use the word different. So are not
I mean,
made different by the types of music that are played.
The music
Right.
doesn't make a
That
difference.
makes it
okay,
easier.
yeah, I see what you're saying. So I thought you used the word association that day, and we can't use it. So whether you did or not, we cannot use the word association
Either
yet.
way, they will let us.
All right,
try.
what did we conclude back there?
Question.
Allie, do you see your conclusion? What was it?
Tempted by usually.
My conclusion was that we reject the hypothesis.
We reject H sub O, because look at that P. We reject it, so we are able to say there is enough
there's a
evidence to
difference.
conclude that
There is a difference.
the distribution of wine types
Between-
are different, are made different by the music played.
Should we
So,
say the distributions of line types are made different, or the distribution of line types is not made different?
we're assuming this, because look at the P.
But,
We're
I mean, I'm
rejecting
just
this.
asking if we're supposed to be referring to multiple distributions or just one.
Yeah, there's several, see?
So the distributions
Yes,
of line
yes, distributions. So the main point I'm making is we aren't allowed to say until today, when I teach you your third chi-squared test, and guess what, you do them all the same, but it's the conclusions you can make that are different. So welcome to stat class. It's all semantics. It's all the way you say things. It's the most verbal math you'll ever take, except maybe econ, but that's not truly a math. All right. Econ's very verbal as well. All right, let me see, is there anything else on the recap? I think that's it. All right, so I have given you then a handout, and that's all I wanted to say about the recap. And before we move on to this third chi-squared, which is 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes left, so I don't think I'll enter it until tomorrow, but I can talk about this. So on your chapter 11, third handout, this one from today, notice the printout at the bottom on the front, and it's talking about, believe it or not, wines. So I want you to read it and see if you can figure out what all the numbers are. I see a grouping 1, 2, 3. What could that mean? Then I see none French Italian. So that's got to be music. Because remember, one of the options was none, no music. So along the top, that's music. What do you think the 1, 2, and 3 would be? Any ideas?
Days.
What? Days? No. It's kind of weird. I think they should have told us what 1, 2, and 3 are. But looking at the
types
experience.
of lines.
Yeah, types of wines. So how do you know which one is 1, which one is 2, and which one is 3? So I just looked back at the problem, the way it was stated, and I'm assuming it went French, Italian, other. So if you would write next to 1 French or F, 2 Italian, and 3 is other. So I'm not real pleased with this mini tab, but when am I ever pleased with a mini tab? All right, no one would want to hire me as their statistician. All right, or my class. I've turned you against statistics, right? All
Stat
right.
is dumb. It's foul.
What would you recommend for the upcoming group? Calculus or stat?
Stat.
Really? Are you crazy?
Wait,
That is so much.
why wouldn't it be crazy to say calc? Wait, why is it crazy?
Why would you say calc?
Calc
She
is like
enjoys
clear.
calc.
It's clear. Calc
Yeah,
is
it is.
clear.
It is a lot clearer, but you
I think
use
they'll
this
make
more.
you- There's
as
nothing
statistics.
It's
clear.
more real life.
Yeah.
There's
Thanks a
nothing
lot,
clear.
Allie. You had a good teacher, I can tell. All right.
No,
So what's the
statistics
chi
is a good-
squared from the mini tab? Can you find it on there? Circle it. What is the chi squared on the mini tab? Are you circling 18.272?
I mean, I see
279.
Oh, 0.279, sorry. All right, the only thing I want to say before you fly out of here is, that's a really high chi-square. That's going to give you a p-square that's really, really low, and you're going to reject the null hypothesis. So sometimes, being the statisticians that you are, they're going to hire you to say what component made this so high. So if you look at all the components that added up to make this chi-squared number, you're going to have to determine which ones had the biggest contribution. So we'll look at that tomorrow when you come in. All right. I don't know. Do you want to take mine and copy it?
Alright, goodbye.
I don't mind.
Goodbye.
Bye, Elaine.
All right. Well, how about if she doesn't have it?